Hey guys, and welcome to another Age of Empires 2 replay audio commentary. And in this replay, I have a 1 versus 1 Nomad game that I played this afternoon. And the matchup is Japanese versus Aztecs. Japanese is probably one of my best 1v1 civs. And Aztecs are probably not as good as Japanese on Nomad, but they are still quite a good 1v1 civ because their civilization shines in the earlier ages compared to the later ages. So again, this is going to be the second Nomad 1 versus 1 that I've posted. So I'm just going to show off the map here. So both players have two villages spawning kind of close together. Mine are over here. My opponent's villages are spawning over here. And he's got his third village over here, and I've got one pretty much right on the shore. So this is my third Nomad 1 versus 1 game that I've played since I've started playing 1 versus 1 again. I guess it's my third Nomad 1 versus 1 game ever. I did have a game before this that I wouldn't technically count as a game because I think the player quit within the first 10 minutes, and I think it was because he just mucked up his start. So I'm going to go to my view lock and I'm going to start the replay. So I've noticed my dock village is right on the shore, so I'm looking for a shorefish. There's one there, so I found my dock location, and then there's a stone right next to that wood line, so I'm going to put up my TC there. There we go, so I'm putting my dock down. I'm going to go on the shorefish, and in this game I'm changing my approach, and I'm going to be building the house with the dock villager. Because I was doing some testing when I was playing. I was doing like a quiz on Nomad economy, or just like Nomad map economy, and I found that because some of the civilizations in the quiz you have to build the house with the dock, such as Mayans and Persians. I just tried doing that, and I got used to it. It doesn't make much of a difference, but it can actually. I figured out a way. I gotten used to making the house with the TC villager, but after trying this a few more times, I'd figured out a way to sort of keep my TC nice and smooth with this build order as well. So I've got my dock up, I've got my shorefish villager working, and I've got my two TC villagers building the TC next to the woodline and the stone. I picked up a goose with my dock villager, and I'm sending that goose towards my TC, and I've also spotted that my enemy has TC right next to me. You can see his treaty ring just to the left of mine. So I know that there, again, out of all the Nomad games I've played, there's only really been a one tree line gap between me and my opponent. And I have got a good feeling about this one already because I have a stone right underneath my TC, and often when the town centre locations are quite close, it means that stone can be important in feudal age. So queuing my extra villagers from the TC onto the woodline, and I've got a close bore again. Couldn't ask for a more perfect sort of start there. I do see one of the geese from my opponent moving around, which I probably should have thought about this. That most likely meant that his dock villager was to the south of the map, and now I've queued up my first fishing ship. I'm going to be bringing in the board. And one of the changes that I made to my build order is I've taken one villager off boar. So previously I've been doing 4 onto wood, bring in your first 4, and then 4 onto boar. And I've cut that down to 3 on boar because I figured out that I can keep the TC running with just 3 villagers on boar, and that allows one of those extra early villagers to go onto wood for an earlier second fishing ship. However, Japanese are a civilization. If you don't do crazy force dropping, if you just kind of play without crazy like wood force dropping, etc., you will probably not get your second fishing ship out quicker than any regular civ. Like it'll be out at the same time as Magyars. But when Japanese get savings on their resource deposit camps, mining camps, lumber camps, and mills, so after you have to build those as prerequisite buildings to go up to feudal age, and you need to build a mill to be able to build a market, etc. That at the point in the game when Japanese build those buildings, they save 50 wood per building, which is actually quite a decent saving. So you get some wood savings throughout late Dark Age to early feudal age with the Japanese, which can allow you to squeeze out a couple of extra fishing ships and also afford your prerequisite buildings to go up to the next stage earlier. So at this stage, I think I've watched this replay over in Capture Age, and my early game, I only had 4 seconds of idle TC right up until sometime in Castle Age. Actually, maybe I had a little bit of idle. No, it was 4 seconds of idle TC until I was just waiting to click up to Castle Age just for the last bit of food to come in. So I know that I've had a pretty much perfectly efficient Dark Age build order here so far. I did have to queue up Loom because I got housed there temporarily, but I didn't think that was a bad thing due to the fact that my enemy is so close. And unfortunately, I haven't scouted a second boar at this stage, except for that one next to my dock, which is a little bit too far away. I probably could lure it to my TC with a couple of tricks, but I have decided against it. I'm just going to go for the deer patch. So I think in the first replay that I posted, I got 3 or 4 boars within my line of sight in Dark Age and Feudal Age. This game, it doesn't go your way. So I'm going to sort of demonstrate how to still get a decent Feudal Age time without getting heaps of boars. So here, I know that I'm pretty low on food near my TC, and Japanese mills only cost 50 wood, so I'm sending one villager out to the closest berries, and I'm going to mill the berries and put a couple of villagers on berries, which I normally wouldn't do in Dark Age. I'd be trying to focus as much food as I can, as many villagers as I can on the hunt. I've had relatively consistent fishing ship production. I'm just kind of looking around. I'm trying to find a second boar at this stage because I'm a little bit concerned that I haven't found one yet. I might have been slightly a bit slack with scouting with my geese, but unfortunately I just haven't been able to find that second boar. So unfortunately I'm not having the most perfect Dark Age ever at this stage, and I'm going to have to rely on my secondary land food sources such as the deer patches and the berries. So I've decided to send 2 sets of villagers over to 2 different sets of hunt to bring in some food, and I have mismicroed my fishing ships here, so my dock is in an inlet, and now I have to go quite a fair distance to find a second deep fish. So this means that because the distance is so far, I'm going to benefit from building a second dock at this shorefish location, so I've got more efficient fishing. Now, in the fog of war then, there was a blue dot just near where I was looking. That's an enemy villager who is also walking around that area, and unfortunately I get a nasty surprise here. I even saw the villager on the camera, but I wasn't looking. I was focusing on microing my fishing ships, and unfortunately my villager's been walled in. My second dock has been denied, and I'm trying to save my villager here, but I'm not that great at quick walling. So here I make a mistake. I wall myself in. I attack my villager's the enemy palisade, and then I'm not going to be able to kill this villager. So the best I can do is just attack it now, and I'm going to have to send another villager over there to go and finish that dock, and unfortunately I'm going to lose that villager. So that's not I'm not off to a great start, and because of that all commotion over to the left side, I get housed. So actually, sorry, yeah, that was the part that I get housed. So I get housed for, I don't know, maybe 15 seconds or something there. And then before I click up to Castle Age, I end up having about 24 seconds of idle TC, so about 1 villager. So I am up to 7 fishing ships, trying to get in the food for Feudal Age, and I'm just force dropping from that goose there, and I've managed to click up. So I had to use some extraordinary measures to get the food in, the land sort of economy food in, to be able to click up to Feudal Age, and I clicked up to Feudal Age later than I would ideally like to. So I clicked up at 24 villages. Technically this would be 25 because I lost one, so it's a lot slower than I ideally would have liked to have clicked up. But I haven't seen my opponent arrive to Feudal Age yet. So that's a good sign at least that he's not doing quite as well as me. Just focusing on microing my fishing ships there, and I've noticed that his houses are there, and I'm just going to be putting up some forward outposts here. I'll put up one in the gap between the trees in front of my TC, and I've got another one where I can see a house and a mill, and up there I've just spotted that he's on that gold mine, so I'm just laming that goose, and I'm going to build a house, and I've decided that I'm going to take him off gold with a tower. So I'm preemptively bringing 3 extra villagers over, and I'm going to go and build a 3rd dock because I'm floating wood at the moment. I'm going to tower his gold to try and slow him down, and I'm going to go and make some fire ships and try and take water control. Japanese fishing ships get a 5% work rate bonus in Dark Age. That goes up to 10% in Feudal Age, and that is really helpful for getting in the food for Castle Age. So I finished the house, and I can't exactly see where his villages are, so I'm just going to take a guess. I'm going to build the tower there. Tower's going up now, and I'm queuing up some fire ships, just checking, and he is attacking my outpost, bringing some villagers forward, and he's going to try and rush down the tower with my villagers. Building a couple extra palisades because I thought he was actually going to go and attack my villagers and try to deny me making the tower, but he's actually just attacking the tower foundation. And then I've docked next to one of his docks. I didn't know that this wasn't his primary dock, so I'm sending my fire ships over there. And now my tower's about halfway down, so I've decided I'm going to try and kill his villagers with my villagers and see what happens. I've got a few Ida villagers at the moment. I think it might even be fishing ships. I'm just going to fix those up in a second. I need to get some more food in, and then he hasn't noticed, he's not microing his villagers under the tower, so I've got a good chance to get a couple of vill kills there. I've got a villager repairing, and then I'm getting my fire ships onto his dock. Getting in town watch because I want to get some more vision, because it's very important in these situations to get in town watch, as it just gives you such an advantage over your opponent if your opponent doesn't get it. And then there is another boar there, so I am about 500 food short of going to Castle Age. That boar will get me most of the way there if I can bring it into my TC. So using those villagers that build the tower to bring the boar to the town centre, and I'm gonna get as many villagers as I can onto that boar so I can click up to Castle Age. I built my blacksmith, which is my first prerequisite building, and I'm building my market with my dock villager over to the left of the map, and then I'm gonna get as many villagers onto that boar as I can. I'm building a barracks as well, just in case I need to make some military, and then I've got a couple of villages on stone, and I'm sort of considering, depending on what happens, that a castle drop might be a good idea. And I can see that he's shooting up something in his dock there, possibly a demo ship, possibly a fire ship. Okay, so I've secured that gold. That will mean that he will have to go and build a mining camp on a different gold, which is making him spend an extra 100 wood that he wouldn't want to spend. And here I get housed again. So after I rush up this house, I can't remember how much idle TC this ended up being. It might have actually been 2 villages worth, so it's possible that it was the total idle time from getting housed twice might have equaled around about 50 seconds of idle TC. Which is not ideal, but it's not too bad. And I'm building a lumber camp, and I'm getting the stone mining upgrade in with my outpost. I can see where his town centre is. I can see that he's kind of sort of walled off one side. I just need to fix my fishing ship. They're getting stuck on each other there. I'm going to send some extra villagers to stone, and I can see that he's building a blacksmith. At the time, I thought that was walled off to the trees. So I was like, alright, I can see that there's a path past my tower to his town centre. I'm in a good place here to be doing a castle drop. So I've queued up quite a few villagers on stone. I'm getting in the first wood upgrade at the lumber camp, and I'm getting in man-at-arms just preemptively. I mean, I probably didn't have to do this, but I figured one of the possibilities that could happen is he makes eager warriors to try and deny my castle. So I'll get in the man-at-arms upgraded, and if I have to, I can build a couple of man-at-arms to help my castle go up. And Japanese man-at-arms also attack, I think it's 33. It might be 25%, but it could be 33%. I can't actually remember. Let's check. Japanese infantry attack 33% faster, so yeah, they attack 33% faster. They're the best man-at-arms in the game, so that will be helpful if he decides to go eager warriors as the defense to try and deny my castle drop that's coming up. And I'm just putting up some palisade walls in this opening here, just in case eagles try to come in and disrupt me. Alright, so I've arrived at Castle Age. I don't recall that I had to buy any stone. I was able to gather enough stone, and there is actually a 1-tile gap between his blacksmith and the wood line. So I am going over to build that castle. Now I'm just going to pause the game for a second. So I reached Castle Age at about 21 minutes. I've been averaging in my Nomad 1v1s about 20 to 21 minutes, and the game has generally gone into a little bit of a contest on the water, into around about this castle time. Now in one game that I played, I got scout rushed while I was going up to castle, and that I built a tower in that game as well. So the tower obviously costs 200 resources, and that delays my castle time a little bit. So I want to take a look at my opponent's setup here. So this is what Blue's doing currently. So he's got 10 on food, which is all fishing ships. So there's 3. 7, 9, and then I think he's got another. And he's 1 shellfish villager. So he's got 1 shellfish villager, 9 fishing ships on food. He has 6 on gold. He is preemptively gathering the stone. Now this is a mistake that in the other Nomad game that I played that my opponent made, is he is getting stone. Actually no, sorry, he's on the way up to Castle Age. So, but he's behind me. So he is about a minute behind me, and that is because of his resource balance. I think he'd been over gathering either gold or stone or wood, a combination of those resources, and not gathering enough food. And I think that's because his villagers on land weren't doing things like taking this deer patch, for example, or coming out here and taking this deer patch. This boar could have been brought into his TC. This boar could have been brought into his TC. You really sort of need to prioritize villagers in Feudal Age on food to be able to click up to Castle Age to get a good time. Aztecs villagers also have a +3 carry capacity, so you can send 3 villagers out onto the deer and they will fully take the deer instead of 4. So again, I think in every game that I've played, I've reached Castle Age faster than my opponent, and that's due to my resource balance in Feudal Age. So I'm going to go back to my point of view and we'll have a look at the castle drop. So I'm just going to go back to the normal speed there. Alright, so my castle's going up. It is not being contested. I do see that my opponent has built an archery range. However, there's no way that a feudal archer is even going to kill 1 villager. So now I realise that castle's going up, and now I need to focus on my economy and also controlling the water. So I'm getting in the war galley upgrade is the first thing that I researched in Castle Age, and I'm also making some samurai from the castle. The reason I'm making the samurai is because they do, I think, 10 damage per hit to a building, and you can put pressure on your opponent's buildings. So you can kill their houses, kill their blacksmith, etc., etc. Just with, just putting a bit of pressure on the opponent's buildings so that they don't get a free pass with the buildings sitting near the castle. So I've got the 1 man at arms and the 2 samurai working on that house at the moment, just fixing up my fishing eco, getting in fletching as the second upgrade, and fletching also gives +1 line of sight to buildings that shoot arrows, so you can see that increased the line of sight of my castle a little bit there, which is an interesting mechanic. And I am looking pretty good at the moment for food. I've got 20 on food. A lot of that is fishing ships. I've got some villagers under the TC working on the goose. I've sent the stone villagers that built the castle back onto stone because I figure dropping a second castle and expanding my map control is probably going to be a good idea. I'm getting in horse colour, and I'm building my second TC on the gold to secure the gold. And I'm at the stage where I can benefit from adding in a few farms around my TC just to boost my food. And I can see that he's got a villager over there building outposts, so I'm going to attack that villager with my villager. I think I noticed that that villager was also not at full health as well, so I should be able to take that villager out. And I can see that there's berries over there, so I'm going to send those villagers over to take the hunt next to those berries, and then work on the berries. And then that will only cost me 50 food because I'm Japanese. There we go, I garrison the TC and take down that villager. And I can see that there's the area on the right of my opponent's base is pretty much open, and he's gone a defensive castle behind his town centre. And his score is also higher than mine at the moment, which I thought was interesting. So I thought he's either got very good land economy behind it, and has been able to add in a couple of extra TCs, or I have only killed 1 fishing ship. So he must have fishing eco in other parts of the map, particularly because he's got a building south of my tower mill sort of area. And here I've decided to not be too aggressive with my second castle because I don't know what my opponent's got, and I'm also going by putting that castle there. It's a safe castle, it's definitely going to go up, and it's going to control that extra stone. So that's going to give me a good position to take that stone after I build the castle with those villagers. Getting a wheelbarrow now as well, and also I can build other buildings around that castle and consolidate my map control and towards the top of the map, which is where the rest of his buildings must be. So again, I haven't had any idle TC in Castle Age at the moment. I've been able to constantly keep my 2 TCs running. You can see a house over there. I'm just going to work on that with the samurai that I've got floating around in the area. And I can see that my opponent is going into crossbows. I'm going to be able to take that villager out with my villager, bringing the samurai back to the castle so it doesn't get picked off by the crossbows. And I've clicked that villager away, but I think the palving means that the crossbows are going to get that villager, and I can see that I've got some fire ships coming from the south side of the map, which definitely leads me to believe that my opponent still has fishing economy left alive, and I'm going to see if I can find that with my fire ships. I'm queuing up some extra fire ships as well because I need to defend my fishing eco, because I don't think I have any fire ships currently in that area. And I've forgotten to build a mill on that patch of berries there at the moment, so those villagers are walking long distance to the TC. I've run all my shorefish around the opposite side of the map to get them away from these fire ships. Japanese fishing ships do have extra pierce armor and extra health. Or is it just extra? No, they've got double hit points. So even though they've got those two bonuses, Castle Age fire ships are pretty quick at taking them out. Just migrating my fishing eco, trying to save some of it from his fire ship push. I can see he's putting up an extra TC. Apologies about the scream, but I find this mod very handy. I can obviously see that he's been demoing my fire ships on his extra dock over there. Fix up those idle villagers and get them onto those berries, and start making some extra farms. I need to fix the gather point for my third TC that I built. And now I'm going to build a tower on that stone to secure it, because I realise that he's been going archers, so archers will help me secure that stone from harassment. And Japanese have a unique tech at the castle that you can research in Castle Age called Yusama, which increases the amount of arrows that the tower shoots, and I figure I'm going very heavy into stone defenses to secure map control in this game. I may as well double down on it, add some extra towers, and possibly get the upgrade to those towers later in the game as well. So I've got my villagers there on that stone. Again, apologies for the screaming. I should really probably turn that mod off before I do these commentaries, but you can see how helpful it is, because it lets me know that my economy is under attack. So I can get those fishing ships that I've run to work on a deep fish sort of in the southwestern corner of the map, and I can see on the mini-map that I'm running into some more units on the water down there. So my opponent's got quite a lot of docks in the south side of the map, so I'm just going to queue up some extra fire ships and work on taking those out. I'm just now being able to afford Bowsaw. I even think I had to buy 100 food to be able to research that technology. It's taken me quite a long time to get it in. Only coming in now at about 32 minutes game time, and I'm getting an elite skirmisher because I know that my opponent's making crossbows. At the moment, that's the only land military unit that I've seen from him, so elite skirmisher makes perfect sense as the counter to that. Getting in the armor for the skirmishers as well. I've already got in fletching. You can see some more outposts down at the side of the south side of the map, and my opponent has a villager there. I'm bringing in those fire ships to help clear that up. Putting up a couple of skirmishers now as well, and I shouldn't have any problem taking out that dock and those fire ships. Also getting in the gold mining upgrade, because I want to be getting to Imperial Age. I'm just going to build a siege workshop, and I'm going to build a ram to take out that dock and the houses. So I'm going to pause the game again. I'm going to go over to my opponent's point of view. So at the moment, my opponent only has 60 food. Let's have a look at what those sources of food might be. So he's only got 2 farms. Again, he has ignored his deer, which is a free source of food that he could have taken. He has 1,200 gold at the moment. But he doesn't have a market, and I have a feeling that he's forgotten to build a market, and I'm guessing that because I've been putting so much pressure on him, a lot of players will just crumble if you castle drop their TC. They won't be able to play like that. That's pretty much, for them, that's enough pressure to pretty much be able to win the game as long as you don't throw it. They won't be able to recover from the stress of that situation, and this opponent has obviously fallen to that pressure. He's stopped making good economic decisions. He's been focusing a lot on trying to get up fishing economy. So he's been docking and redocking, which I think is a mistake, because I have water control. There's almost no way that he's going to be able to afford to take me off water. And what's it going to benefit him? Like, I don't really see the benefit. I've got 7 fishing ships here. I reckon what my opponent should have done is actually taken the free hunt resources that were available to him around his TC. So he's got multiple patches of these over here, and focused on getting up some farms and keeping his town centre running, because he's currently only on 48 villages. I don't know when the last time he had a villager queued from his TC would have been, but he hasn't focused at all on land food economy. Whereas you look at obviously I haven't been under pressure, but I've taken the time to build quite a lot of farms. I'm just going to go back to my point of view and see how many farms that I've actually made. So there's 17 farms, plus the fishing ships that I've got. And I've also been doing things like milling extra patches of berries, etc., because it saves me wood, it saves me resources and being able to get food in. So a tip for those who get castle dropped but aren't in sort of immediate pressure from a ranged unique unit is that, if it's only melee unique units, something like a samurai, which is a strong melee unit, but it can't threaten town centers or anything like that, focus on getting your food economy going so that you can actually keep producing from your TCs and growing your economy. And that is an extra step that you can take to staying alive once this situation happens to you. I'm going to go back to my point of view. Oops, wrong player. So at the moment, I'm sort of mid-castle age. I've constantly been making villages from my 3 TCs, and at this stage, I can see my opponent's building a second castle there. I'm going to go to that stone mine. So I've currently got 3 castles. I'm giving up Bodkin Arrow, because I'm going to be making some skirmishes. It also gives me extra range on my castle. Getting out that battering ram. Going to be building a university that will allow me to get the guard tower upgrade. It will allow me to get murder holes. It will allow me to get ballistics, chemistry, etc., which are all very important techs. And again, I'm consolidating my map control towards the north by pushing forward with castles. I've got a battering ram working on those buildings down the bottom there. I'm still working on increasing my food eco. This was a pretty messy game. I'm sort of not really thinking too much about the perfect things to do. I'm just using my muscle memory, throwing down the farms. My opponent's finally come in with some crossbows and gotten under my tower. I thought this was interesting though. His crossbows aren't firing. I don't know if that's a bug or whether he's got them on no attack stance, which I figured was likely. So I'm sending over a samurai there, and I'm sending over skirmishers. Now, why did the crossbows start attacking my villages again? Is it because he right-clicked them? I have no idea. So I lost 4 villages from that little crossbow push, but I don't really care about that. I've got 98 villages plus fishing ships, 124, and I've got 2,000 score more than my opponent. I'm in no danger of losing this game. It's just about consolidating the lead, and I like to finish the game by going to Imperial Age. That's the type of player that I am. I'll usually get a lead and then go to Imperial. So I've castle dropped his town centre there, and then there's a relic right next to the castle, so I'm going to build a monastery, and I'm going to pick up that relic. I've got the guard tower upgrade in, and then, if it was going to be a closer game, the Yasama towers would have been great for map control and also pushing forward. I'm going to find something to do with these villages here, probably just use them to make houses. I'm queuing up multiple battering rams, and I'm getting in the gold shaft mining upgrade. I'm going to just push his castle. I've decided I'm going to go capped ram, trebuchet, samurai as my early in composition to push down his castles. Still queuing up villages from the town centre. I still haven't been able to afford the handcart upgrade at this stage, and I've got enough stone for another castle. I find that the stone mining upgrade actually does make a difference over time in the amount of stone collected. I guess it gives you a 15% bonus. And I think, for your first castle, it doesn't necessarily make much difference, but if you're going to be making multiple castles over the course of 20 minutes in the game, that getting that upgrade in while you're sort of early on your stone mining can definitely increase the amount of stone that you're going to collect in that time. So getting in +2 armor for the infantry. I have a feeling I've forgotten to get squires. I can't remember if I researched that technology from the barracks at all, so my samurai aren't exactly moving very fast. Just using this monk to be annoying. I don't really care about converting his villages because they'll just get shot by the castle anyway, and I'm just going to sit the monk over there basically as a 100 gold outpost at the moment, because ideally I'd like to convert a jaguar warrior or something that's worth a bit more. Build a mill over there and use those 4 villages to just take some hunt. Getting in handcart now, getting in forging, building an extra monk. At this stage, I've got quite a lot of wood and gold, which is nice. So I'm able to afford 3 trebuchets instantly in Castle Age. I'm putting another guard tower there, and he is going to try and do a Castle Age push with rams and jaguar warriors on my castle. I don't exactly have units in place to do a good defense against that push currently. I've only got that one samurai who's going to get shot by the castle anyway. So I'm going to repair the castle with the villagers, and I'm going to see if I can queue over some samurai to defend the rams. But again, I've got like 4 or 5 castles at this stage. I'm not really worried about it. As long as my trebuchets don't get picked off by the rams, I'm okay. And at the same time, I've got capped ram coming in, getting into conscription, and I'm going to be destroying one of his 2 castles almost immediately after he destroys my first one with my trebuchets and my rams. And then now he's going to try and take out my top castle. I'm currently housed at the moment. I think, do I actually have to lose some units to get those samurai to come out? Is that what? Oh no, I'm putting up the houses now. Okay, so he's got 3 rounds left. I've got murder holes in already, so my castle's going to be able to attack those rams while they're attacking my castle. Got some samurai up the top there working on his economy. I'm getting my villagers out of the way of that fire ship. And I've got samurai next to my castle defending the ram push. I'm going to look to get Katafuruto, which is the unique tech for the Japanese that increases the trebuchet firing speed and also the unpack and pack speed, which is a pretty awesome upgrade to get. It really makes their trebuchets probably arguably the best trebuchets in the game. Possibly not as good as the Britain trebuchets in a lot of instances, but for quickly taking out buildings, they're definitely the best trebuchets with the upgrade. Currently I'm idling my town centres. I can't remember what that upgrade costs. If it's wood and gold, I'm just going to quickly check. It makes sense that it's wood and gold. Yeah, so it's wood and gold. So I didn't need to idle my TC to afford it or anything. So getting that upgrade in. Now I'm over double my opponent's score. I've got lots of samurai on the field. I've got a whole bunch of trebuchets. I've got a bunch of capture rams. It's just a matter of making him resign at this point, because as far as I know, he doesn't have any military. He's just trying to expand his eco and have a chance of coming back in the game. He's got a couple of crossbows there, but they're not really going to do anything against the samurai. That town centre's going down. And it looks like he might have another TC over here as well. Yep, there it is. And it should be pretty easy to take that out with my trebs. Also going to take out that seed workshop, and then my opponent resigns, and he said GG, well played afterwards. Alright, so let's have a look at, I'm just going to go back to the map. So my opponent was pretty much reduced to this corner of the map, and I did a nice job by consolidating a castle push on this side of the map. I kept good vision of this side of the map. I destroyed my opponent's buildings over here, and I just kind of boxed him into a corner, which only really had a little bit of space sort of left that I wasn't able to see or able to control. He still was able to get another dock up over here, but again, I think the continued focus on the water was probably a mistake. And as you can see, he has got a couple of fire ships over here, has possibly killed some of my fish. Oh no, they're all still alive. Let's have a look at the statistics. So KD was pretty good for me. At one stage it was even. It was on 18-18, and I think I had a few more eco kills than him because of killing his fishing ships and a couple of villages, etc. Obviously destroyed a lot of buildings, didn't really lose many. Got up to 16 army. My opponent was never really able to get off the ground. I think the game was even until, or roughly even, until a few minutes into Castle Age, and that's when my economy kept growing, his economy stopped growing, and that's pretty much where I was able to take the game from. He was actually ahead of me in resources collected until early to mid, it was maybe like 33% to 50% of the way through Castle Age when my 3TC economy started paying off. It's possibly because of the Aztec carry capacity, but also he was focusing on resources that collect quickly, which is wood and gold. Obviously, over the course of time, I had over double the villages that he had, so my economy grew quite a lot. But I did notice when I watched this replay in Capture Age that his resources collected from basically the time that I clicked up to Castle Age, he was ahead by 1,000 resources or so for quite a while into Castle Age before I eventually overtook him, which is, I think, the Aztec economy bonus, doing the heavy lifting there. And then again, my age up times are all better. 25 seconds faster to feudal. Castle Age time, again, it's a very important one to have a good Castle Age time on Nomad, and I was a minute 30 faster than my opponent, and then he never reached Imperial Age and never really got like never was really able to recover from the castle drop, I guess. Even though the game didn't end quickly after that, it felt like the decisions that my opponent made within the first 5 minutes after that happened were not correct, and he was just never able to recover. 5 castles to 2, I ended up getting a rally can a bit later, maxed out 133 vills, and my opponent only reached 56. That's the timeline. Alright, thanks for watching guys, and I hope you look forward to the next video.